Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everybody's all doing well. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. That would be greatly appreciated. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the heavyweight fight that's just been announced on the undercard of Dillian Whyte versus Otto Wallin. And that is the fight between Alen the Savage Babic Babic up against George Fox, the son of Don Charles, Derek Chisora's ex-trainer, boxing trainer Don Charles. His son George Fox will be taking on Alen the Savage Babic on the undercard of Dillian Whyte versus Otto Wallin. Now, this is not a big heavyweight fight. Both of them have only got a handful of professional fights under their belt. George Fox, I think he's 4-0, no wins coming by way of knockout. Alen Babic, I think he's about 8-0 with all wins coming by way of knockout. Alen Babic is one of the most entertaining fighters to watch in boxing. One of my favorite fighters to watch just from a purely entertainment and excitement point of view. You know, whenever you watch Alen Babic, you're just going to see a brawl. He's going to come out hyper aggressive, throwing big bombs, big hooks from the start of the round to the end of the fight. And most of the fights have ended pretty early. I know he hasn't been in there with a great level of opposition as of yet, but I mean, he's been in there with guys like Shondell Winters, and he stopped Shondell quicker than Joseph Parker did. Now, I know styles make fights, and, you know, his style, he's going for the stoppage, whereas Joseph Parker's, you know, boxing a little bit more smartly. But like I say, Alen Babic, very entertaining to watch, has got heavy hands, all wins coming by way of knockout. He doesn't really care too much about his defense, so there's always the chance that he could get clipped and put out himself. Also, we've seen he's not the biggest man. He's a very small heavyweight. He's about 200 pounds. He could really fight at cruiserweight if he wanted to, but we all know the money's up at heavyweight, so that's where he's at, and he's competing at the moment as a heavyweight. And he's been in there with a couple crafty journeymen so far. He's come through against all of them. The Tom Little fight that he had, I think it was last year during Eddie Hearn's fight camp up against Tom Little. Tom Little, you know, he can box a little bit. He hasn't got any power. Also doesn't take boxing too seriously, but has a little bit of a boxing ability, a little bit of lateral movement. You know, decent jab for a journeyman. But in that fight, I thought there was an opportunity maybe that, because Tom Little's pretty durable. We've seen him go up against a lot of heavyweights like Dubois, Hergovic, and he can take a bit of punishment. So I thought there was an opportunity that Babic may punch himself out against Tom Little. We've seen him almost punch himself out a couple times now. In his last fight, he almost punched himself out as well. But he ended up just being able to... The thing is, he does punch himself to the point where he's almost completely fatigued. But because he's done so much damage to his opponents, and his opponents also have been picked pretty carefully to not have much punching power themselves. So, such as Tom Little and the last guy he fought, they don't really have much... punching power, so they can't do much back to him once he's already punched himself out. They're not in the greatest of shape, so from taking the shots from him, they're pretty worn out themselves, and to start it off, they couldn't really punch to begin with. So they've matched him up pretty smartly. In this fight, I see he was supposed to fight Lucas Brown, who is a big puncher, but at this point in his career, he should just retire, in my opinion. He's just turning up for a check. He doesn't turn up in any type of shape whatsoever. He has a puncher's chance, but he's so slow. He's also very chinny and not durable. So at this point in his career, I think he should just retire. I think Alen Babic would have got him out of there in probably the first 30 or 40 seconds of the fight. You know, either body shot or head shot, because Lucas Brown, at this point, he's so big and overweight. He can't move, he has no defense, and he's very slow. I think Babic would have caught him before he could catch Babic, and I think he'd have got knocked out. So I actually prefer this fight between Alen Babic and George Fox. George Fox obviously has a lot of ambitions himself to have a run in the heavyweight division, and also George Fox, he's a very big man. He's a 6'7" heavyweight, and if I was to guess his weight, he's probably about 260, 270 pounds. You know, and also he may not have a lot of experience in the pros, George Fox, but, you know, he's been in camp with Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte, Derek Chisora. Being the son of Don Charles, he sparred Derek Chisora when Charles used to coach Chisora. He's been in camps with Tyson Fury to help Fury prepare for Wilder, and I've seen he sparred with Dillian Whyte. So he's been in there with some top heavyweights. So he's had a lot of experience, and I think it's crucial that when he was younger, and Chisora was still with Don Charles, he had a lot of time around Chisora, and he sparred Chisora a little bit. I heard he got beaten up pretty badly in some of those spars because he was a young heavyweight and Chisora was at his peak. I think that's very important, and I think that could help him in this fight against Alen Babic, because Chisora and Babic, similar styles, both hyper aggressive. Obviously Chisora much bigger, stronger, probably much better heavyweight than Alen Babic. Got a lot better head movement, a lot bigger, a lot stronger, more durable, probably hits harder as well. And the fact that Fox has been in there with that and sparring with Chisora, I think he's not going to be really caught too by surprise by Babic in this fight. And I've seen a little bit on George Fox, and he looks to be pretty decent. I mean, he's not a one-punch knockout guy. He has no knockouts in his 4 wins, but I mean, those were all 4-rounders. I think he's more of an accumulation type of guy, similar to what Tyson Fury was early in his career. He has got respectable power. Any big man in the heavyweight division or any heavyweight period has power. So I'm sure George Fox can definitely crack a little bit. And if he hits Alen Babic with a cleaner shot, he'd probably be able to put Babic down. Now, like I say, George Fox, about 6'7". He seems to be a pretty mobile for his height and size. Got a pretty decent jab, pretty decent speed. Solid defense from what I've seen. Pretty good technically, to be honest. Got a pretty good counter left hook, which I think he'll try to counter Alen Babic with. When Babic throws that big looping right hand, I think similar to what Dillian Whyte did to Derek Chisora to knock him out to that counter left hook off a catch and shoot. I think we're going to see George Fox try knock Babic out with that shot in this fight, a catch and shoot with the left hook. He's got a pretty good, nice, tight left hook for a big man. Like I said, he's got a pretty good left jab. So overall, he's got a pretty good educated left hand. He's an educated guy as well. George Fox, you can see in there, he's a thinker. And in the ring, he's trying to set things up. A lot more technical boxer than Alen Babic. Now, Babic, obviously, we know what he's going to do every fight. He's going to come out, he's going to be extremely aggressive, and he's going to go for the stoppage. He's going to try and blitz George Fox in this fight. I'm not quite sure on George Fox's toughness, but like I say, having sparred with Derek Chisora, Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury, those guys, I assume that he's not going to be seeing anything he hasn't seen in there when he steps in there against Alen Babic. So in this fight, I'm actually leaning towards George Fox at the moment to pull off what I would assume is going to be an upset in this fight. I haven't seen the odds on the fight, but obviously I'm assuming Alen Babic is the A side in this fight. He's Dillian Whyte's man. He's on the undercard of Dillian Whyte. We've seen he's built a pretty big profile over there in the UK. A very exciting fighter. But I think with George Fox's size, he's going to have a huge height and reach and weight advantage over Alen Babic. I think that's going to take its toll on Babic unless Babic can get George Fox out of there early. If he can't get George Fox out of there early, I can see him kind of punching himself out. George Fox seems to have pretty decent defense. And like I say, George Fox is going to be able to tie Babic up pretty comfortably, in my opinion. Lean that height and size on him, similar to we see Tyson Fury do to Deontay Wilder over the weekend. Just big man him in the clinch, tie him up, walk him back, lean on him. George Fox should be able to do that to Alen Babic. And I also think his jab, with that height and reach advantage he has over Alen Babic, is going to cause him a lot of trouble. I think Babic hasn't fought somebody with a left hand like George Fox has yet. And if he gets on the inside with George Fox, like I say, in my opinion, I think George Fox will be able to handle his own. With the kind of left hooks, uppercuts on the inside. He seems to be a pretty good technical and pretty fundamentally solid fighter. I'm not sure how hard he hits, but I think it's respectable. More of an accumulation type guy, but I can see him stopping Alen Babic in this fight, with Babic suffering from fatigue after maybe trying to stop big George Fox. But like I said, I think George Fox's left jab, I think Fox has decent footwork as well for a big man. He's not too flat-footed. He can move a little bit, so I think he's going to be able to control Babic, keep him on the end of his shots, and when Babic gets on the inside, counter him with little short shots as well, and tie him up inside as well, and then get him back out, get back behind his jab, and look to keep him at distance for the most part till he either hurts Babic or Babic starts to slow down. So in this fight, I'm picking what I think is going to be a pretty big upset. Haven't seen the odds yet, but I have a feeling Fox will be a pretty big underdog going into this fight. I'm leaning towards George Fox to pull off the big upset here. Let me know in the comment section below who you guys think is going to win this fight. I think it's a much better fight than Babic versus Brown. So I'm actually looking forward to this one. I think this is going to be a pretty entertaining scrap on the undercard of Dillian Whyte versus Otto Wallin. Thanks for listening. Talk to you guys again soon. Cheers.